Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Jean Umberto. In this part of the course, we are going to start discussing the conditional statement, which is still part of the control flow, of course. And we are going to start with the if and an optional else clause. And in a later video, we are going to explore the switch statement. So let us go ahead and start exploring the if statement. So back on my desktop, I will access my project folder, which is the JS work folder, inside of which I have created a control flow folder, and this is basically where I'm going to write all the code that have to do with the conditional statement. So I will open that folder, and you can see it's blank. It says there's nothing for now, and at this moment we don't need to write any user interface in HTML, so we can use Scratchpad to write our programs, and then we can use the web console to test it. So I'll go back to my desktop and open Mozilla Firefox, and as Mozilla Firefox is loaded, I'll go to my menu icon and access my developer tool, and I will open Scratchpad. So here I am in Scratchpad. What I'm going to do next is remove all these commented lines here, and then I'll start writing my code. The very first thing I want you to remember is the logical operation, and this is testing if a certain expression returns a Boolean value true or false. So let us start practicing on this before we move on to writing the actual if statement. So here I'll simply say console.log, and I'm going to say 30 equals 30. So now here's a question I'm going to ask you. Is this going to return true or false? What do you think? 30, and we're using the comparison operator equality, that is equal to 30. What do you think this will return when we run this file in the web console? So I'm going to save that, and I'll go to my control flow. Make sure you are inside the control flow where you need to save this file, and I'm just going to call it conditional if.js, and I'll save it. And now what I want to do is open the web console. Back on my menu, developer tool, and web console, and then here I am. So I've got a console open here, and I've got my Scratchpad open on the other side. So I'll go ahead and run here, and now you can see we've got true, that is Boolean true, which is returned from this expression here. So this is what if I go down here and write another console statement, and I just want to log 5 is less than 4. Okay, is this gonna give us true or false? So let's go ahead. I just want to go and empty the console. Back into my Scratchpad, I'll click on the run button again, and now you can see that the first one 30 is true, and the second one 5 is less than 4 returns false. The last test I'm going to run is going to be on some string values, and I'll say console.log, and this time I want to test if James written in capital letters is actually the same as James written in lower cases. So I'm just going to go ahead and save, then run this file again, and now you can see the last statement returns false because this James here in capital letters is not the same as this James in lowercase. Okay, so now if you have actually refreshed your brains on these logical operations, it's time to start writing the actual if statement. So I will go straight up there, and I'm just going to start by if and a pair of parent there, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'll say, for example, 45 equals to 45. Okay, and if that is the case, in the blocks here, what do I want executed? I simply want a message and say console.log, and I'll say yes, 45 equals 45. So that's going to be the message that I want to run only and only if this condition is evaluated to true. So I'll empty the console here, I'll come back and I'm going to run this, and yes, that statement has executed because its conditions, the condition on which it depends, has returned or has evaluated to true. So what if I change here and I say something like 45 is not equal to 45? Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and remove that from the console and run this file again. Now I see nothing because this statement is false, and I haven't specified, I haven't told my program what to do in case the condition is false. So let us write that optional clause, which is the else clause, and now I'm just gonna say sorry, condition has evaluated to false. And so that's going to be the message. I will save, I will run this again, and I can see that we have the message sorry, condition is evaluated to false, simply because this was not true, and therefore the default or the optional else has been reached. So once this is true, of course the next clause or the next check is never reached, or it's never even evaluated. So I also spoke about having multiple conditions, so I'm just going to go ahead here and use the else if statement, and that's going to be the clause that gives us a second option, and I'm going to say 45, okay, is greater than 31. Okay, so I just want to say console.log yep second cond was true. Okay, so now if the first condition fails, the program is going to continue checking on the second condition, and if it also falls, it's going to jump for the last option, which is the else clause. So in this case here, you can already predict the result here. We know that this is not true, and is 45 greater or bigger than 31? Yep, it is. So this is going to be executed, and therefore the last option will never be tested, will never be reached. So I'll go ahead and run, and I can see yes, second cond was true. And then you can continue writing other else if statement right down here, depending on how many things you really want to test. So I'll go ahead and actually remove everything that I have here, and I'll start creating some variable, and the first one is going to be var age to represent the age, and we are simply going to assign it the value 56. Okay, so now we've got a value 56 assigned to the variable age, and let's say we have another variable name, and this is going to have the value James, and what we want to do is to actually test based on the value stored in the age variable. So we'll say if age equals 56, and we know this is true, and so it's going to log a message in the console and say that is the right age to do this work. Okay, so we can actually test on this. So I'll go ahead and save this file, and I'm just gonna open a fresh console, right, so that I can test on this. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and run this file, and you can see that it says that is the right age to do this job, because this condition is of course true. Var age has the value 56, and we're checking between the value stored in the var age and the actual value 56. But what if we say 60? So I'm going to go ahead and save. I want to remove everything in the console. Now if I run, I see absolutely nothing here because this expression here, this condition, has evaluated to false. So that is where the optional clause comes in handy. So because this condition has failed, we can now go ahead and present a message to the user since we only have one condition. So we can actually say console.log sorry, age was not met. Okay, so that's going to be the message. Now we run this program, save, run. You can see that is the default. That is the default, some kind of an optional message. Sorry, age was not met. So when this condition is evaluated to true, everything else in the control flow is ignored. Okay, so let us have a second statement, a second if statement, and let's say if age, okay, is less than 40. Okay, let's just say here console.log that is the age to really work very hard. Okay, so that is the age to really work very hard if the age is less than 40. So I'll go ahead, save this file, run this. Now you can see it still says sorry, age was not met because the first condition had evaluated to false. Okay, the second condition has also evaluated to false because age is 56 and you're trying to see if age, that is 56, is less than 40. Okay, so what do you think? What if we do this here? What if we say that if age is less or equal to 56? What do you think will happen here? Okay, so now this will be evaluated because we are trying to check first of all if it's less than 56 and that is false, but equal to 56, that is true, that is less or equal to. So this is going to be evaluated. This statement will be executed. So I run this and you can see that is the age to really work very hard. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to kind of continue playing around with this, and maybe you can actually start using both variables here. So you could actually say something like if age is 60, or okay, name is Maria. So now you're actually checking if the age is 60, okay, and if this falls, the left operand 4. So if it falls, you can actually go to the right operand and work on it. So it's gonna check if Maria has the value, is the value inside the name variable, and if either of these is true, this statement will be executed. So don't forget, you could actually go ahead and use operators such as not equal. You can actually use greater or equal, and you can actually use the strictly equal and so forth. Go ahead and practice. We are going to have a video where we are going to basically practice and write some HTML user interface where we are going to start testing multiple conditions. Thank you for watching.